What am I doing? Hello, and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 638. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Today is Friday the 29th of December, 2023, so it's our last 2023 episode.
Look at that. We'll probably say 2023 throughout 2024, however.
Yes, that's almost certainly going to happen, at least a few times. Laura and I both use the she, her pronouns. Hopefully there won't be much background noise. I have absolutely no part in it. Michael is replacing the carpet in the hallway with laminate flooring. Not right this minute, but even though he knows I'm recording, it's guaranteed there's going to be noise at some point.
Something will happen.
Yeah. So.
Although it looks like he's waiting for paint to dry. He did the underflooring with kills. Yeah.
Yeah, so... and then I found out on the way up that he was painting the banister because I've got paint on my fingers.
Usually he's good about marking stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure he told me, and I just...
Yeah. Sounds about right.
He's like, you never listen to me, and I'm like, what? Welcome to almost 20 years of being together. So, yeah. You've been off for a couple weeks. You traveled.
Just 1 week, yeah. Weekend. No, I guess it'll be 2 weeks today. Yeah. After today, tomorrow it'll be 2 weeks. Yeah.
So you traveled.
I did. I went to Knoxville. I went to a new yarn shop in Knoxville. No, I can't remember the name of it.
We're terrible at remembering names of yarn shops.
It had something to do with bees. Knit bees, something like that.
They had a very interesting selection of stuff because Laura was sending me pictures.
That was at the quilt store.
Oh, okay.
So Mom and I went to House of Yarn first on my way through, which is my favorite yarn shop and what I kind of consider our local yarn shop because it is the most local yarn shop to us.
It is 3 hours from us.
Yep. Which is about the same as, I think there's a yarn shop in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and then Little Rock also has one. So but Memphis is not at this point in time. We're kind of in the middle of a dead zone. So I went to House and said hi to Meg, and she's always the sweetest. She lets Pearl, my Great Pyrenees, come in. I always ask, on leash, and gives her water and treats usually, and it's just the sweetest. And then stopped at Buc-ee's gas station on my way to my parents' house. Got a fudge sampler. They made banana pudding fudge in it. And it had, like, the vanilla wafers in it. Mm. And fudge should not be crunchy, like, in that way. Mm. Like, with cookies in it. It was just weird.
I have the stuff to make banana pudding.
Yeah.
But I really want to try to make sticky toffee pudding.
Ooh. Then went to my parents. Then the next day, my mom and I went to the Maryville yarn store. We went to, I think it's Bees Knits. And then went to the quilt store and hung out. And we went to a board game store. And I got some board games, and we went to a good restaurant. Wheezy was the driver. I knit on his Christmas present in the back seat because he wasn't paying attention to me because he was driving. And just hung out with my mom, who's also doing Jillian Marino's Spin Down the Stash. So we were spinning every day and enjoying lots of baked goods that she made and watching lots of stuff. Wheezy had never seen Muppet Christmas Carol before, so we watched that and Muppets Family Christmas, which you know is my fave.
I do.
And yeah, drove back on Tuesday, and that's been about it. Just been knitting and spinning. More spinning than knitting. But yeah.
That's what you want to do, so.
That's, before I left, someone backed up into my car. So it has a nice red streak across the headlights and the hood's pushed in, and that's been super fun to deal with insurance, but no one was injured, and that's the important thing. So yeah, that's been me. You've been off this week, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm off the week of Christmas and half of next week. And I've been messing with my loom a lot. So
oh, fun!
I don't have anything to show. If I remember, I'll put in a picture of what's on the loom now. But yeah, I subscribed to the Jane Stafford weaving
And you've done
school.
that in the
I
past.
have done that in
Yeah.
the past. But I sort of skipped some of the fundamentals, and I went back and watched most of them and realized that the reason that I had such a bear of a time warping a loom is because when I was winding the warp, and I have a vertical mill that Laura's mom gave me, um, and so it's kind of like a big square that spins, and you wind the warp around, however big you need it to be. And I was piling the yarn on top of each other, kind of like how if you unloop a skein of yarn and to put it on a swift, it's kind of like all in this, sort of tube thing. And when you're winding a warp, you really don't want to do that because all of the strings have to be in order so that when they go through the heddles, they're in perfect order and tension.
Gotcha.
And mine were not. And
well, then you learn something.
Yeah, so I was like, well, that's a dumb thing to mess up. But sometimes when you're trying to learn from books and videos, people make assumptions about what you already know.
Yeah.
And skip things that you may not. So
that's the cool thing about that Jane Stafford weaving school or the ply spinning guilds. Those two things are similar. And that's the cool thing about those is they take it back to the basics.
Yeah. And Jane's very detailed. She does things multiple times in different ways, and she focuses on posture as much as anything else.
That's cool.
How to make the fewest movements with your body to accomplish things. So I'd love to take a class with her, but she's on like one of those islands off the coast of Washington,
like Whitby.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's just the amount of time I'd have to be in a plane to get there is just... Or
Bainbridge, maybe.
I think it's Bainbridge, yeah.
Yeah.
Did I tell you I have to go to Vegas in January?
No, we should go to Vegas.
Not thrilled about it, but I've got to go back again for work.
Is it like over a weekend?
No, it's over the course of a week.
Oh, boo.
So, which is good because I get paid for my travel days as regular days, so... because there's not a single direct flight from Memphis to Las Vegas on any airline. At least from the time frame I was looking. So
do you fly to Chicago to Vegas?
I think Dallas and then Vegas.
Okay.
But luckily, one of my companies, like the way that we have to book travel is through this special site.
Yeah.
And one of the preferred airlines is Southwest, which is good because Southwest has a pretty good customer size policy for anybody who doesn't know. If you are even an average sized person or above in the United States, the airline seats they just get smaller and smaller. And while I can fit in an airline seat and I can buckle my belt, I really, like, if I don't want to touch the person beside me, my arms or whatever, I have to sit like this the whole time. And I've got a large chest, so my arms have to go above my chest and push it down the whole time. And that's not comfortable for me. So with Southwest, you can purchase an extra seat, and then when you get to your destination, after the trip is over, you can call their customer service and get a full refund for the cost of that extra seat. So while you do have to pay extra money for an extra seat, you get it back afterwards. So it's essentially a free seat. So I'm glad that my company likes to use Southwest because that's the friendliest policy for a fat person. We haven't yet talked about knitting, and we've been talking for like 10 minutes. So do you want to start?
Sure. At the end of a roast, it works fine. I am knitting on some socks for my brother-in-law. This is the pattern Vanilla is the New Black. So it's got this really cool heel.
Something with an E.
Euclidean?
Euclidean, there you go.
I don't know. Could be, because Euclidean is a triangle. Yeah.
I think it is Euclidean. I think you're right.
I don't know.
I think the episode will just be Euclidean, question
mark. So anyway, it's a triangle-shaped heel that's formed through increases. So it's an interesting one, and my brother-in-law likes it because it fits his feet best. It's interesting because it started striping at the top. This is Bumblebee Acres. And then when my gauge changed to stockinette, it started pooling. And then after, which is weird, it's the same number of stitches. After the heel, it's like...
flashing on one side.
Yeah, it's definitely pooling. It was flashing more before, I guess. So, yeah, it's like 3 socks in one. It's one of their Corriedale-based yarns on, in like the Lord of the Rings, one of those colorways. It's one of the Hobbits, maybe Bilbo Baggins. I can't remember. The theme for me this week is I lost the tag. So I have like no idea what a lot of my stuff is. So yay. But yeah, that is Vanilla is the New Black. And then I am also working on the last of the hand spun socks. So this is a chain ply one. And the foot is almost done on that. It's about ready for the heel.
I can't believe how thin that is, and it's chain ply. Like, I'm having trouble getting that thickness with a single.
Do you want some tips on that, or do you just... Are you happy with your thickness of your singles?
Well, at this point, I want it because I've already spun a bobbin.
Yeah, you want to stay the same.
When I finish this, then yes, I would like tips.
Okay.
Because I don't aspire to be able to spin one quite that thin consistently, but I would like the knowledge.
Okay. And then this is the start of something new. So I have some leftover sock weight yarn. This one's a little bit thicker. But this is some leftover Hello yarn that was chain plied for a blanket project. And this is 3-ply or 2-ply. I think it's just 2-ply Nest Superwash Merino. And I just started the Elf Baby hats, which has like a very cute lace band that goes, and then it's shaped like an elf hat.
Oh, yeah.
Someone let the dogs in. So I'm going to use these two together. This is going to be the brim. This is going to be the rest.
There are 2 baby gates between them and me.
Yes, there are.
There were.
They were both closed, too. Anyway, so this is going to be in progress. And that is what I have that I am working on, those 3 things. What are you working on, friend?
Not exploding.
Not killing your husband?
Yeah. I mean, I guess at least he didn't forget about them and they're still outside, so
it's not that cold. They would be fine.
So what have I been working on?
What are you working on in your hands?
I am working on a new sweater. This is from yarn that I got at House of Yarn, which Laura talked about House already. So every year during SSK, the Tuesday before SSK starts, we get there early so that we can unload all of the stuff that we bring an unbelievable amount of stuff with us to SSK. Primarily equipment like wheels.
Yeah.
And
winders and
goodie bag stuff that we weren't able to get shipped straight to Scarlett Bennett or rolling racks, door prizes. Yeah, also, I mean, an unbelievable amount of crap lives at Laura's house. But we always make time to run by House that Tuesday as well.
And we usually get Jersey Mike's for lunch as well.
And so we went this year. And one of the first things that I saw when I walked into House was Meg has tons of samples. It's one of the things I love about her shop is that if there's a new interesting yarn, there's already a sample knit up out of it. So you can see what it knits up
or
like.
Crocheted, yeah.
Or crocheted, yes. Some sort of crafted sample. So there was this sweater. And this is an Amy Christopher's pattern. And you've probably heard of it or some variation of it, the Pressed Flowers cardigan. So there's a pullover, there's a hat, there's
a cowl,
and
a shawl.
And a shawl, and this cardigan. And I liked it, but I didn't like have an immediate need to make it until I saw Meg's version, which is in Ravelry. I'll try to remember to put a link, but I probably won't. And her colors were slightly different, but it was like this. So it's knit out of a really slubby kind of yarn. The white is Barocco Remix
Oh, interesting.
white, which is 100% recycled fibers. And then, oh, that's my timesheet alert. Put in my timesheet. And then the colored yarn is a Noro. It is Noro Yukata. So
is that also like a cotton mix?
It's cotton, silk, something else.
Oh, that's pretty.
Wool. Oh, it's no cotton. It's silk, wool, and poly, like
nylon.
Yeah, nylon. So this is what it looks like in the like cake thing.
And it comes like that. It's already.
And I'm pulling from the outside because I have learned my lesson. Pull from the outside, people. And this is living in a bag that we got from Modern Daily Knitting.
Yep.
So these are the two yarns together. I probably wouldn't have mixed these two if I hadn't seen Meg's version, and it's beautiful. It's not wool, right? So it's not going to have that same like bounce, but it's also slip stitches, so it's not going to have that same amount of stretch, even if it was in wool.
Yep.
That it would have if it was like a Fair Isle or something. So I'm really happy with this. It is slip stitch, so you're only knitting with one color at a time, which is nice. The only thing I'm still trying to decide is, because it's a cardigan, right? You knit it in one piece up to the shoulders.
Okay, so it's bottom up.
Yeah. One piece up to the shoulders, and then you split, or the shoulders, the underarms, and then you split and knit, the back and then each front. But do I want to do the work and faff around to make sure that the colors match perfectly? Because it's Noro, so it's really difficult to do that.
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, that's gonna be rough.
And then there's the sleeves too, because they're gonna hit at the same point. And I'm thinking, if I wanted a perfect sweater, I could buy a perfect sweater.
Yeah.
So I may just sort of roll with it, and the colors just, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
And not fuss
you
about
could
it.
always get one side done, and then...
Because even if I, planned out the colors perfectly, with Noro, it's notorious. You'll be like, there's
a knot.
Yeah. This should be a 30-yard section of pink, and then in the middle of it, there's a knot, and it's...
yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unpredictable.
But I would just roll with the unpredictability.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, mainly because it's easier, and I don't have to plan ahead quite as much. But yeah, I really like this. I think it's going to be nice for me because it's a much lighter fabric, and it's going to be drapey. So it starts with casting on 347 stitches.
In your size.
Doing knit one, purl one rib for 17 rows. So I'll be doing that for the next month, probably. That's not that bad, really. And the yarn is really nice to work with. I've bought Remix before, but I've never knit it.
Oh, yeah, I knit a sweater out of Remix, and I enjoy it. I have some late in the stash.
Yeah, it's really nice on your hands. It feels really nice.
Is it considered a fingering weight or a sport?
I think it's a sport. I think. I don't know.
I don't have a project in mind for that.
But yeah, I'm really happy with this. It's giving me my little dopamine hit. And then, let's see, I didn't bring painting bricks because I didn't work on it at all this week. I do have directions. So this sweater is living in a chicken boots bag. I
thought you were saying you had directions to the sweater, and I was like, I hope so.
No.
Or painting bricks, I should say.
So it looks kind of like a mess because it's modular, so you knit a bit and then you knit on this end and then you knit on that end. If you've ever made a recalibrate, sort of like that, it's kind of modular.
Did you fix your issue?
Nope, because I haven't got to the point where I have to yet. So so this is the front, and then I'm working on this sleeve. So you knit flat for a while, and then I just joined, and I've got another maybe 1.5 inches worth of knitting this before I finish this sleeve. And then once I finish this sleeve, I have to fix this section where it's twisted. Let's is actually twisted there, which is super annoying. So I've got to fix that before I start the other sleeve, because I can't pick up stitches along a Mobius. I mean, I could, but then it
So
would...
you're just going to cut it, unravel,
a row,
and then
re-knit a
re-graft
row.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, that's the plan. Whether it'll work,
It should.
we'll see.
I have faith.
Yeah. I have to take breaks on knitting this because this is a wool silk, a linen silk blend. So it's an animal fiber and a plant fiber. And those fibers take dyes differently.
Yeah, one's a protein and one's not.
Yeah, so you have to use different dyes on those. And some stick super well to whatever that fiber is, and some don't. And the dark colors especially, apparently. The dark color on this sheds a little bit, and I did reach out to the dyer, and she was like, yep, that's normal. You can do this or this to try to set it better before you wind it. If you want to do this in the skein, you can do this or this to try to set it, but I'm just lazy and don't feel like doing that. And once you've worked out that excess dye, it's gone. But during the process, like, I never really thought I was fastidious about my hands, but the dye
person with paint on their hands.
I know. But the dye gets under my fingernails and makes it look like I've been digging in the soil. And for some reason, that really bugs me. So I have to take breaks. So, but I've made progress. I think I've made a pretty good amount of progress on this in the last week. So,
you have.
2 weeks probably. But yeah, that's living in my chicken boots bag. Well, everything gets shoved in here.
That's everything shoved in my Amy Beth bag right now, including other Amy Beth bags.
I finished a couple things.
Ooh, I want to see.
So I think we have matching.
So mine they're not here.
Oh, okay.
Because they were gifted to Weezy already.
So
but we do.
I knit the tinsel mitts, so did Laura.
Yep. I'll show you what yarn mine were out of, because I have a smidge left. But I can show you how much yarn I had left at the end, because I was getting a little nervous.
Oh, yeah.
So I did it out of hand spun that I showed y'all right before I left.
Started, yeah.
Yep. So yep. So that is how much I had left, and I was getting a little worried towards the end. But I also blocked them on the fireplace, and I think blocking really helps, like, this part.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't blocked it yet, but they're tinsel mitts. They're by Andrea Mallory, and they're like flip top, so you can go between fingerless or regular mittens. I left the thumb open.
I did that on Weezy's too, so he could text on his phone.
That's exactly, yeah. So yeah, they're not super complicated. They went pretty quick.
You don't have to worry about directionality until you pick up for the top. It's like a 3-in-1 pattern. You can do just mitts, you can do a mitten, or you can do the popovers. We both did the popovers.
Yep. So
it'll be good for you when you pay the ball tax.
Yep. So those are done, and then also...
And that's out of Urban Girl Yarns?
Urban Girl Yarns, in the Michelle Obama colorway.
It's pretty.
And then during our fail along for our Patreon supporters, thank you very much, Patreon supporters.
Yes.
Someone happened to mention the emotional support chicken, which is a pattern. It's linked in our show notes. Our show notes are on our website, which is TheKnitGirlls.com, 3 L's. Somebody happened to mention in passing this emotional support chicken, and I was like, what? So it's a pattern by Annette Corsino, who probably had no idea it was going to explode. But
look at that!
It's an emotional support chicken. How
are you going to hide that? It's got a safety pin in its bum.
That's just a stitch marker from... Yeah. I was marking something. I got to take it out. I put some poly pellets in the bottom to give it a little bit of weight. Jordy has already stolen it twice.
Because he's a jerk.
To be fair, most stuffed things do belong to him. So...
But he steals stuff that's not his all the time, too.
This is a lot of short rows. So if you want to teach yourself German short rows or something, this is an excellent project for it. But it is a lot of short rows, and I did read the pattern wrong several times.
So what yarns did you
and
use?
had to rip it out. So the variegated color was hand spun from Into the World in the Inara colorway, which is a Firefly reference. And then the sort of oatmeal is from a sweater lot I bought when I was in New Jersey from a sheep named Merlin. I knit Amanda in Australia a sweater out of the same yarn.
Yep.
So this is, I have about one skein left.
I think you need a second emotional support chicken.
I think this pattern would lend itself to all sorts of weights of yarn. I think if you wanted a smaller emotional support chicken, I don't think I realized how big this chicken would be. It is chicken sized, like it is healthy chicken size. But I think it would lend itself to a smaller weight perfectly well.
That's amazing.
But all of these are knit separately.
And sewn on?
Yeah, and then sewn on. So, and the eyes are cockeyed. Like,
I love it, like chickens have.
Yeah, they're kind of going like that. But yeah, it was a nice knit what you want kind of thing for me.
Yeah.
And
not knitting SSK stash.
Yeah,
it was still knitting stash.
True.
Yeah.
The only annoying thing is there's a lot of seaming. Like this whole thing is seamed on two sides. So there was quite a lot of seaming, but nobody's going to look at the underside of the chicken, so but I'm going to show it to you.
Yeah.
So there's my emotional support chicken.
That's very cute.
I think her name would be Betsy.
Ooh, that's a good name for an emotional support chicken.
So what about
Henrietta would be another good name.
That would be a good Henrietta. Lindsay Lohan. There's a whole...
I bet. There's a whole pun thing going on.
Yeah.
So I finished the tinsel mitts and gifted those to my father for Christmas. I've been doing a lot of spinning. I have one skein that I actually took off the show notes because it didn't dry in time, so I will show that to y'all next time. This is some Kim Dyes yarn. I cannot find the camera. There we go.
Oh, we've only been doing this for like 15
gosh.
years or something.
So this is some Kim Dyes yarn. This was her Maryland sheep and wool colorway for this past year. Do I know where the tag is? No, I do not, but it is Polwear silk. It's around 500 yards. I think it poofed a lot, so I'm sure it's less than that now. But I am going to make a Musselburgh hat out of it. Musselburgh?
Musselburgh.
Okay. Hat out of it for my aunt who's going through chemotherapy right now. So this will be nice and soft and warm for her. So that will get on the needles very quickly. And then the other finished skein I have is Wee Chickadee. Do I know the colorway? No, I do not. Do I know the base? No, I do not. Did I lose the tag? Yes, I did. So this is a 3-ply. And I actually wound it on my mom's knitting knotty.
It's
so
chunkier
that's why
than
it doesn't
you typically
have.
Go for.
Yeah. I was trying to do chunky after all the.
I think you did it well.
After all the other things. But yeah, it doesn't have the number of ties that I usually have on, and it was soaked in a bowl with Wheezy's mitts on top of it so that he couldn't see them. Because we are very tricksy in my house. But yeah, it's like probably, I would say, around 200 yards of a worsted, if I were to guess.
I like all the bluey purple tones.
Yeah, Wee Chickadee does that really well. And then what I currently have on the wheels, I still have the thin from Hello Yarn in the Seething Sea colorway. It did not get worked on because it was on the Ladybug, which stayed here. But I did take one of the Daedalus wheels with me. And this is Wee Chickadee and the Yuletide colorway. I spun 8 ounces of this over Christmas. So that's next up for applying. And then I started a sweater spin. This is Falkland Into the World in the Herding Cats colorway. So I have 3 braids of this that I am going to use. Hopefully it's going to come out to a sport weight. I sampled and as a 2-ply, and I am going to do Joji Locatelli's stripy unicorn sweater with this as the contrast, and a gray Jacob from... I bought the yarn at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool. That's a sport weight. That's like woolen spun. So I'm pretty sure they will have some good contrast. And that's a raglan down striped sweater by Joji Locatelli. So I would like to get the other... I'm going to fractal this. So the other half of this was spun just straight down the braid. The other half will be divided into thirds. And hopefully I will get around 1,000 yards, because that is what I need. That is the plan. We will see. But yeah, that is what has been on my wheel.
Cool.
A good amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm at like 18 ounces plied for this month. It's not terrible.
How are you doing with your Jillian bingo thing?
I'm good. I did a coverall, so I've completed the whole bingo card.
A coverall?
Yeah.
That's what it's called?
In bingo terms, yes.
Oh, okay.
Were you not... So, as a child, my church did this thing that was like free babysitting for teens.
Heathen.
No. But other people play bingo. So when we were teenagers, there was junk food bingo at my church. So you would pay to get like the special cards, and if you won bingo, you got like, back when there were brown paper bag grocery bags, a bag of like all the junk food.
I was going to say, that sounds right up your alley, because your mom made all your food.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There was no...
We did like organic stuff growing up, so for the most part. So like there wasn't... We have one sugar cereal a month in the house usually. Like just... And I won once, and it was the best day ever. But yeah, we would... And it was great for the parents, because, you know, they would drop us off. There were... people supervising, other adults supervising, and it was like 2 hours of free time on a Friday night, or 3 hours of free time on a Friday night. And it was bingo. And they would, you know, sell refreshments, and...
It's a relatively wholesome thing.
So, played a lot of bingo as a child. And then Patrina started during COVID times, an online bingo thing that was lots of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well, I've been spinning a little, not a lot, but, so I've got, or I had, 24 ounces of this.
So pretty.
Fiber. So, 12 and 12, 24, so I'll do 3 bobbins of 8 ounces each, yeah. I had to do some math there. So this is what it looks like in its
unspun form.
Yeah, it's raw.
It's top form. Yeah.
It's got some silvery kind of hidden gold accents in there with this kind of wine color. And this is what it looks like spun up. This is 8 ounces.
That's pretty.
I've been spinning it on my Daedalus. And
Jordy's been helping with that.
Yeah. He picked my Daedalus wheel up and took it into the other room until he got bored with it. So I didn't actually see him do it, but he's the only one that messes with that stuff. So
with all the stuff.
Yeah. I'm not going to think about that because I'll just get annoyed. Yeah, so this is 8 ounces. I've started spinning the next 8 ounces, and I'll probably finish it by SSK. Like, that's the goal I'm setting for myself.
Yeah. Do you have a plan for the finished?
If it's enough to do something with, I would like to do a top of some kind.
Yeah, it should be enough. If not, you can combine it with commercial yarn. It's enough for something, for sure. It's a pound plus 4 ounces.
Yeah.
You said 20 or 24?
It's 24.
Oh,
so it's a pound and a half.
It's a pound and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should be fine.
And it's a really beautiful blend. I didn't even specify colors or anything. I was just like, whatever. So, yeah. So that's what I've been working on. Spinning and knitting and...
Nick and Jill are the best.
Weaving a little bit. As far as reading, I really haven't been reading a lot this week. I've been starting books and not finishing them. I'm just having a hard time finding something I really feel like reading. But I am re-listening to the Illuminae Files by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. It's a series told in a really interesting way. It's sort of split between, and I've talked about it before, but it's not YA. I would say it's just like science fiction. But it's told between like the perspective of an artificial intelligence, um, instant messages between people, uh, someone transcribing surveillance video. Like, it's a really interesting mix of how it's told.
Format wise.
Yeah, and I like the narrators a lot, so I've been listening to that. And Laura's listening to a book we were talking about before we started.
I'm listening to Fourth Wing. So I finished Hunt the Stars, which is a sci-fi adult romance type book. It was like, I don't know, B plus. And there's 2 more in that series, and then I all my young teachers at school have been like raving about Fourth Wing, and I bought the audiobook a while ago, like when it first came out and was getting all the notice.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I have a 6.5 hour car ride. I am going to listen to this audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
So, excuse me, I am now like, I don't know, I think I have 12 hours left. But I've been washing a lot of fleece because I would like to start the new year with less dirty fleece in my life, if not 0 dirty fleece. I would love to net 0 on the dirty fleece in my life, but washing fleece does take time.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a Cordale from Strawberry Ridge that was 5 pounds. That's all bagged and being washed. And as I'm washing that, I'm alternating between listening to Fourth Wing, or if there's a new Percy Jackson episode, I watch that. And they're being released like one at a time, and I'm like, come on, Disney Plus, way to get my money. But also, I just wanna watch them all.
Yeah.
And then be sad because I don't think they've started filming on the set. Maybe they have started filming on the second series. That would be amazing. But I'm really enjoying. I really like those books, anyways. And the movies were terrible, and this is like Uncle Rick actually, the author actually like wrote the screenplay.
Yeah, I was gonna say he wasn't, Rick Riordan wasn't involved in the movies,
No.
right? So I mean, he sold the rights, but he didn't
Yeah.
have a say in how the.
And when they said they were going to redo it, he was like, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it's through Disney. His publishing's through Disney as well. But he also told them, like, hey, because in the books there's, like, LGBTQIA characters. We're going to have those. Like, we're not going to get rid of those characters just because this is on Disney. So I appreciate that as well. So yeah, those are kind of the 2 things that I'm alternating between. I also have some Midsummer Murders to watch, but every 25 minutes, getting up and changing the fleece water.
It's funny because I've been over to Laura's a couple times in the last week, and she'll say, Alexa, how much time is left on timer? And I'm like, what timer?
Because I forget to set it when stuff's going on.
There's probably people who are like, their Alexa's answering right now. Sorry.
I did do a good job during the SSK Zoom last night. So SSK Zooms are still going on. There's a link in the Discord. For the next month, it's still open to everyone until like the beginning of February. And after that, payments due mid-January with a little bit of ease time. After that, I'm going to switch the password so that it's like private again. Because it is a perk of attending SSK. But it is available Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Central for the next month or so. And that's always a fun group. So yeah, and then we have our Discord where there's lots of chatter going on, including some chatter about our striped sweater cal, which I am going to get started now that the holidays are over. We're doing that with Indigo Dragonfly. And yeah, It's going to run through at least the end of February. Now I'm thinking the end of March because I want people to be able to get door prize tickets for that as well. So yeah. That is it, I think, for what's going on. Is there anything else? We have a fail along going on tonight. You'll be in the future.
Yep.
But we also have
a VKN.
A VKN for our Patreons on Sunday as well.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, like Leslie said earlier, to all our Patreons for supporting us so we can do what we do.
Yep. I think that's it.
Yep.
This is actually a relatively long episode.
Because we took a week off for the holidays.
So.
And we both had time to craft.
Yeah. I've napped every single day, which has been amazing.
Yes. We had flurries this morning.
Yeah.
I wish we had real snow.
I was going to say it probably melted before it got to the ground. But...
Yeah, it did. Because it was like 36 degrees outside.
Yeah.
And now it's like back in the upper 40s. But yeah. We hope that you are safe and sound wherever you are. And we will see you in the new year.
Yep.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.